Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slang Hope. And I got another video for y'all. And this is another book review. Okay. And the title of this book is Woman, Race, and Class, right, by Angela Davis. The book is about 250 pages long, 13 chapters. I will post the link in the description below. So you can have access to the book. There's also a link to the book I published, which is called Who Profits When Black Men Gangbang. And there's also a documentary, We Came to Heal, that you should probably check out. Okay. This is a great book, man. I got so much stuff to say about this book, but I'm gonna condense it. Now, I heard about this book a while back. I was supposed to check this out, and I didn't, right? I think like my own biasness got in the way of me actually reading it. I didn't know what was going to be like the analysis that Angela was going to be coming from. And yeah, I let like my assumptions kind of like get in the way. But I definitely appreciate the person that named this book. And I had to check it out, you know. So why did I read the book? I read the book because, yeah, I thought it was time for me to check it out. I think like as I try to understand women better, and just become a all around better person, I said, let me check this book out. I had a professor in school. She was teaching a class on like gender and stuff like that, and she wanted me to take it. That was one of like my favorite professors in school. She told me I should take it, and you know, same thing. I didn't want to be drinking certain kind of Kool-Aid, but I still should have, you know, took the class or read this book just to get like a sense of like where people are coming from. But I didn't. I just stayed away, right? So yeah. So I read the book because I heard about it before. I'm actually borrowing this book. I gotta give it back. But yeah, that was the reason I read the book. I thought it was time for me to kind of like get a deeper perspective. Women, race, and class. So the book is about basically, it just talks about like the women's movement and like how it came about like early on. It talks about like during slavery time, how white women took this time to kind of like launch their movement, right? The women's movement, for them to try to get some rights, get the right to vote, and stuff like that, right? But it was white women, and oftentimes they didn't really care about like the black women. The black women were also enslaved at that moment in time. So yeah, so the book was just basically talking about how like black women and black men were enslaved at the time, and white women, they wanted to gain some rights. And what they did was they attached them trying to fight for rights, and they teamed up or try to make a case for also slavery. They try to make a correlation that like being stuck in the house was like almost like being a slave in the house. So they compared it to slavery, which was something that they used strategically to try to draw parallels. So yeah, then it talks about how like when the evolution of the women's movement started to include like when black women started to kind of like try to fight for their rights after like emancipation of black people. It talks about how like the women's movement overall, like it was a pretty racist movement. And they also talk about class, right? A lot of the women that were complaining, or that were not complaining, but a lot of the women that wanted rights or were advocating for it, were from middle class, right, or bourgeoisie women that they had the luxury of staying home, So the book kind of like just broke down the women's movement, the racism within it, how a lot of those white women didn't really rock with black women, and then it also highlighted there was a class um, aspect to it, right? There was a lot of white women who were not rich, who did not have wealthy husbands, who did not benefit because they didn't get to stay home, right? And there also was a bunch of black women in the same boat. So as one group of women are leading this, that are well off because of their husbands, are fighting to come outside the home, there was a whole other group, a larger group of women who were not blessed with that luxury. Well, I don't know if it's a blessing, but they were not able to have that luxury because they had to work. They were working class women. That's what the book is about. What I got from the book really helped me understand. Um, it helped me understand certain things about black women. It might be a little different today, but what I kind of like really understood from it, it was how like from generations of generations, after living up the plantation, a lot of black women never really had the chance or the opportunity to really just stay home, right? Like oftentimes they worked in the plantation. I think like there's the book highlights this notion that they try to say that black women um, only, or like there's a narrative that black women, oh, we're working in the house most of the time, as nannies or making food for the master or whatever. But you're highlighting how like a lot of times women were in the field too with their men, right? Yes, some worked in the house, but a lot of them were also in the field. Um, so if you go from like the plantation and how they worked alongside a man to like getting free and then having to work in the workforce, it was just basically, just help me understand that like there has been generations after generations of like, women are constantly having to work, black women, oftentimes alongside of her man. Um, and it just breaks down like that it doesn't, you never really had this chance to really like benefit from like, oh, just being at home. Not only did they have to work, a lot of times they had to take care or raise like the master's children, and then you got to come home, and then if you got your own children, you got to do that and do household work. So it just created like this very strenuous condition for the sisters, and they also kind of like was breaking down like why sisters might be the certain way that they are because they never got to kind of like develop that like housewife kind of complex, or like that domestication of like being soft or being a certain way because you how you was brought up. So that was something that I just really got. So um and how I plan on implementing it, I think that after reading up on certain things, it just helped me really, kind of like lower my wing, try to be a little more understanding. I know sometimes it's hard to be understanding because I think like although some of the sisters you might be talking to, they don't even understand why they behave the way they behave, right? So, and I think that sometimes when you're having conversations, the way like some of the sisters just come across like too headstrong, too hostile, like and they might have nothing to, most likely it don't got nothing to do with me. But I think it makes it hard for me to be kinder when people are addressing me a certain way, when people are talking to me without respect, when people are like lashing out against me, when people are being hostile, when people you see how like these women be talking to dudes, right? And you see like the clashes that men and women are having. So I think sometimes, although I might have certain information that makes me understand why they move, how they move, and they behave, how they behave, and a lot of it is hurt, trauma, stress, frustration. Like, we get it, I get it, and I think it's just be hard sometimes for me to lower my wing or be kind when people are not being kind to you. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.